Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It, the show where we're just trying to play every roguelike in history. We'll one of these episodes we'll play the final one, the final roguelike.
Dude.
This time for this
I hate
month,
you.
I know. This month we are playing Slay the Spire. I am your host, Boston. I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5. I'm joined as always by Moonpier.
Howdy, Xbox Series X. Obviously, it's me.
Yeah, both big surprises from both of us. So we are playing the probably one of the more popular roguelikes of the last couple of years. I feel like
Yes, we are. Certain people, friends of the show, who will remain nameless. You know who you are. Have been assaulting my senses to play this.
Right. And I can see pretty quickly why this has been so popular. I feel like we've played a lot of card-based roguelikes before, but I don't think we've really played anything that's super similar to this.
So the first thing that popped into my head, and I felt bad because the funny thing is I was actually speaking to one of the big proponents of this game, Rob, about how my biggest problem with this game from the get-go is it has a very similar mechanic system, like the names, the definitions, the way certain things are playing is almost identical to Griftlands.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
And Griftlands came after this, I'm pretty sure. I'm very much inspired by this.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but look at how that game looks. Like, it's a clay game, number one, so
it's gonna look great.
It's gonna look incredible.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, I feel bad because I'm really struggling to get past this whole thing of
slash and
2
bleed
years difference.
Right.
Yeah, 2 years difference. This Slay the Spire was 2 years before Griftlands.
Oh, okay.
But I'm really struggling to get past this whole, this plays exactly like Griftlands, where it tells me what the enemies are going to do and everything else as well.
Right.
And it's like,
I think part of what's helping me with this one is I like a lot of roguelikes that have that FTL kind of pathing through when you're choosing from one place to another. I really like. I think I've been figuring that out as we've been going through more roguelikes. And I really like that system of being able to have not only just picking the next node you're going to, but being able to see 4 or 5 ahead and being like, okay, that's the node I really want. I gotta go through some kind of spicy stuff to get there, but I'm eventually gonna get to a good spot. I like charting that path through the kind of the levels.
Yeah, I like that too. Like it's always relatively good.
Which is kind of funny because you couldn't really do that in FTL that much because you could only see like the next hop. You weren't seeing like the entire level, but it's always the first thing I think of because FTL is great.
Yes, it is, and everything has ripped it off most unsuccessfully, of course.
Right.
It's an FTL.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out what to talk about with Slay the Spire here because I feel like I've gotten through like the first level, I've beaten the first boss. I feel like I've gotten the real basics of it down, but
how many characters have you unlocked?
2, like the first one and then the second character.
Okay. I have the third character as well. I have not played as the third character yet.
Oh, okay.
But I have the third character.
I feel this like looming iceberg sense of dread with this game because I feel like
what you're waiting for the everything is terrible moment. Is that what you're trying to say?
And like I feel like Hades had this moment too where you're like, man, I'm doing great. beating some bosses. I'm getting the feel down. Everything's going great. Wait, what's all that over there on the horizon? Oh, it's the other 95% of this game. You know,
Mhm.
I'm
Oh, I just filled my unlock bar for the first time. Guess what happens when you fill that thing?
oh no, what happens?
You get a whole bunch more cards for that character.
Oh, okay, that happened for me once too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has been a couple weeks, but yes, I remember that now too. Where I'm like, oh, now I have like
Now
60
you're more
cards.
powerful.
Oh boy.
Mhm,
Oh goodness.
mhm.
And I feel like I was trying to figure out, are we getting better at roguelikes overall because we're kind of, we have like this shared language between them, or was the first boss really easy because I'm just getting into it and there's, the rest of the iceberg under the water? I'm not sure yet. I almost
A
don't
little
want to
from
know.
column A, a little from column B. The first boss
Okay.
killed me twice so far.
Yep.
After that, like as soon as I got the whole thing where I was like, yeah, you know, now I'm understanding this
Mm-hmm.
a little bit better. Um, it's a bit easier to get through that first quote unquote day, I believe they
Right.
call it.
Right. Well, it's also another one of those games where I need to slow down. There's no timer. Like the enemy isn't coming at me. That they're
Hmm.
I'm gonna take my turn. They're gonna take their turn. Like I don't need to mash, 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 go, go, go. I can plan out a little bit of strategy here and not worry about mashing through it.
Yeah, and like being able to take your time is one of those things where it's like great. Like not having the time to sit there and plan it out is great.
Mm-hmm.
The downside, of course, is having the time to sit there, plan it out, and realize you're screwed.
Yeah, we're like, all right, I'm getting in a bad spot. Let me try and figure this out. And then you take a minute there, and you're like, no, it's way worse than I thought. Oh no. Um, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So far I'm really digging it. I feel like a lot of the cards they give you at the beginning are pretty good. There's not a ton of synergies, but I feel like once you start unlocking kind of that first set of cards, I feel like very quickly you're like, oh, okay, okay, yeah, I can combine this with that. All right, like I'm starting to see some stuff here, and I really like that the kind of light risk reward system when you get to the campfire, I think it is, where you can either heal or upgrade a card. Um, I I like that system a whole lot because in a perfect world, you're like, yeah, I didn't take any damage, or I took like 2 points of damage. I'm gonna upgrade a card. Um, but there's a lot of times where I get to one, I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, I had like 5 health left. All right, I'm good. I can make it maybe one more node. All right, let's do this.
I did get the achievement for beating a boss fight with 1 HP remaining, which
Oh
is
no! Oh no! Goodness, that's spicy.
uh-huh.
Yikes. Um, yeah, what else is there to talk about? Some of these games are kind of tough though because what new do you talk about at the beginning of Slay the Spire? It's kind of the roguelike that a ton of people have already played, um,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of like we're talking about with Griftlands. I feel like we're playing it far enough after it came out that there are a bunch of games that have done the same thing, so it's not, you don't have to explain Slay the Spire. It's like, yeah, it's like a turn-based card thing, and people are like, oh yeah, cool. I've played 2 or 3 of those, which is
Yeah.
kind of nice. Um, but I don't know, anything else you have to talk about here with Slay the Spire? Our first week?
I don't know. Like, I'm curious. Like, honestly, this is very much a podcast game for me, which is probably a
Yeah.
bad idea because I should probably pay more attention. Uh,
Eh.
uh, but no, so far it seems to be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those where I started playing it and I was like, yeah, I think this game is kind of for me, and I feel like the depth and breadth of this game are going to be pretty big, which is kind of exciting and maybe a little terrifying at the same time. But that's the cool part about great roguelikes is they're like, oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. Oh boy, another 100 hours. All right, let's go. I've specifically not bought it on mobile for that exact reason.
Yeah,
I can't
I
do
don't.
that
I
to
don't
myself.
need. Yeah, I've already got one mobile game that's destroying my life. I don't need another one. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. I keep forgetting that Vampire Survivors is on mobile, sort of purposely too. So no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our first week for what is possibly our burgeoning problem with Slay the Spire. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next run. Bye.
Boy.